Hey, what is up guys? It's pokemonzr and I am back with another video of my series on how to code Bukkit or Spigot plugins. So right now we are here and we're going to code a plugin in 1.9.4. Now the last time I made one of these videos, like a million years ago, the newest version was 1.8. But right now I prefer coding in 1.9.4 for the reason that, well, I don't know, I just like 1.9.4 better, playing in it, whatnot. So we're just going to make our basic plugin. So today we will be going over, as requested many times in previous videos, how to make and use a config.yml. So the first thing that we're going to do, well, we're going to make our basic plugin. We are going to configure our build path, and we are going to add the Spigot 1.9.4 jar. And the latest version is 1.11.2. You can honestly use whatever version you want. I just like coding in 1.9, as I said. So I'm going to show you two different ways to use a config. And the first one is very simple. The second one is a little more complicated. But I like the first one better. So on our onEnable method, we're going to add in save config. And then on our onDisable method, we're going to add in save config and reload config. So save config basically saves the configuration file, the config.yml, and reload config reloads it. So like when you have a plugin and you type like / the plugin name and then reload, it's just reloading the config instead of reloading the entire server. So we're going to change our config through a command. So we're going to create our onCommand method, public boolean onCommand. I believe, I haven't done this in a while, command sender, command cmd, string args, string label, string args, return true. Is that right? Okay. Hope that's right. So if label.equals ignore case, and let's just do what do we want to do in a config? Set msg. And then, all right, so we're just going to do a message in the config. If label.equals ignore case, set msg. If args.length equals 0, args.length equals 0. Oh wait, I forgot. Okay, I forgot this entirely new port. Okay, if sender instance of player, and then we're going to surround all of this in our brackets. So this is checking to make sure that the sender is a player. And then we're just going to say else sender.send message, you're not a player. Okay, if args.length equals 0, we're going to do p.send message usage / set msg message, or like string or something. And to make it simple, we're just going to do a one-word string. Okay, so if args.length equals 1, then we're going to do get config.set, and then we have the string path. So right now it is just msg, and we're going to set the string value, or basically what the message is, to args1. Okay, so this should be able to work fine. So essentially, let's just go over this quickly again. Oh, hold up. Okay, forgot one more thing. If label.equals ignore case MSG. Wait, no. Send MSG, because MSG is a pretty popular command. If label.equals ignore case send MSG, then p.sendMessage get config.get string MSG. Oh, and whenever we want to set this, we want to reload config. Just kidding. Whenever we set this, we want to save config as well. Okay. So we have our set MSG command. So if this is a player, if the sender is a player, then we're going to cast a player variable. And then when a player types /set MSG, we're going to send them usage. You have to say set MSG and then a string. So if they have that correct command usage, then we're going to set the string MSG in the config to the arguments args_length args1, and then we're going to save the config, reload the config, and then that data will be stored in the config, that MSG string. And then if we do if label.equals ignore case send MSG, the player types send MSG, then we're going to send them the message from the string in the config. So now that we have all of the code finished, we need to make the actual config file. And that is the one thing about this method that some people don't like, is that you have to manually create the config file. So I just like using the built-in editor in Eclipse better. So we're gonna go open with text editor. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to type in MSG, and then we're just going to put string, we're just going to put string. So this is the only variable that we need in the config right now, the MSG. So now that we have the config created, we can go ahead and create our plugin.yml. I don't need to show all of this. Okay, one last thing, because I'm completely stupid. This is args0, not args1. Sorry guys, hope you can change that. Hope you weren't following my dumb brain. Okay, now that we know that we don't make any more stupid mistakes, let's test out our plugin. /send MSG hi /set MSG /set MSG string /send MSG string /set MSG usage set MSG string /set MSG your mom /send MSG. Also, the reason the original MSG was hi and not string was because I was fooling around with it earlier, and that's how I found out about the mistake that I made with the arguments. Let's take a look at the actual config file. So if you go to your server, you go to your plugins folder, you'll see the jar, and then you'll see another file that says config.yml. Open that up, and you can see our MSG there. And if you can change it via the config, let's just change it back to string, and then reload the server, /send MSG string. There we go. That's the beauty of the plugin. Alright, now I'm going to show you the second method and how that'll work. Okay, so here's our second method. I'm not even going to bother coding this. This is from a plugin I did a while ago. So in this plugin, we have a method called load, and we have a method called reload. And when we enable the server, we're going to call on our load method. And what our load method is we're going to save the default config, which is different. You guys can look that up, and then reload. And the reload method is reloading the config. So basically, save default config is just saving the config that you've written, the default one. And we're using a try-catch statement. So if we're able to find and save this config, then there we go. But if we can't, then we're going to print an error, and we're going to say something went wrong. So this is just a little more complicated. And then when we are going to use the config, we actually have this here. So we have a config method, this.getConfig, or not a method, but a file, and then we can call on the config and then saying config.getString instead of getConfig.getString. So that's just a little different ways. And there are many other ways that you can use a config, but these are only two of them, and these are the two ways that I use. Simple and a little more complicated. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you keep up with my plugin tutorial series. Thank you very much, and I'd also encourage you to check out my other Minecraft gameplay videos. Once again, thank you. I love you guys. Peace out.